30 years ago today, Category 5 Hurricane Andrew became the storm that made the most lasting impact on Florida. It roared ashore just north of Homestead with winds of 165 miles per hour. Andrew killed 44 people across 4 counties.
In our continuing coverage of the price of paradise, ABC Action News in-depth reporter Stassi Olmos dug into every issue plaguing the property insurance crisis in our state and now looks at what the cost would be if another hurricane like Andrew hit Florida today.
August 24th, 1992. Maximum wind speeds of 165 miles per hour and a storm surge 17 feet above sea level. Hurricane Andrew made landfall in South Florida as a Category 5 storm. It obliterated neighborhoods, destroying 50,000 homes and damaging more than 100,000 others, left 250,000 people homeless, and cost $26 billion in damages, according to the National Weather Service.
After Hurricane Andrew, we saw so many neighborhoods with legitimate structural damage to homes.
Most of the damage, more than 90% of the damage was wind-driven.
With the cost of inflation today, Andrew's damages would be double what they were in 1992 at about $50 billion. The good news is that Florida's since created some of the strictest building codes in the country.
The 3 top things that came about in the building code arena after Hurricane Andrew, one was the presence or implementation of impact-resistant glass and requirement of shutter systems to be able to protect windows. 2, the state has centralized how they inspect and enforce building codes. And then number 3, upping the design standards for buildings.
While our building codes are a lot stronger, there's a lot more of them since 1992, with the state's population growing from 13.5 million people to now closer to 22 million. Experts say the record population growth in recent years is only piling up the possible damages from another storm like Andrew.
When you compile all that growth with the fact that we still haven't solved the building component elements of damage like siding and shingles and those kinds of things, the dollars really do just start adding up.
Swiss Re, a global reinsurer for several insurance companies in Florida, tells me that their models predict a current-day Hurricane Andrew would cost the state more than 4 times what it did in 1992 at $120 billion. At least half of that are insurance costs.
There is inflation, there is replacement cost increases over time since 1992, but majority of that increase in the headline numbers that you would see would come from, again, growing population exposures in the region.
In addition, Swiss Re models show that climate change and sea level rise also worsen the threat of flooding to coastal regions such as Tampa Bay. Computing an average 6 inches in sea level rise could increase storm damage cost 15 to 20%.
When we look at building codes, moving away from flood-prone areas, those things, the question is which one's going faster? Is our ability to mitigate this catching up with our growth rate? Or are we just growing so fast as communities that it's hard to keep up because we're simply just putting a lot of things right in harm's way?
While we've been in hurricane season for a couple months now, historically, the tropics are more active in the next 2 months. So here are a few things that you need to have in place today. First, take pictures of your home and all of your possessions. Second, have an emergency evacuation plan. Third, update your homeowners or renters insurance policies to reflect and cover the cost of inflation. And lastly, make sure you have flood insurance that is separate from your homeowner's insurance. Reporting in Tampa, I'm in-depth reporter Stassi Olmos, ABC Action News.
Thank you, Stassi. And expanding on flood insurance now, more than 40 private carriers offer it. In addition to FEMA's National Flood Insurance Program, the Insurance Information Institute says you need to buy the coverage today.
If you get a national flood insurance policy, it takes 30 days to become effective. So you need to plan ahead. You can't decide once you hear the forecast that a storm's coming to buy flood insurance. It's too late. So that's why we say today is the day.
To read more about Swiss Re's projections for a present-day Hurricane Andrew, visit abcactionnews.com. Click on this article under the Price of Paradise tab. tab. Greg says it incessantly, but it's so true. All it takes is one. It can be a slow season all the way up, and then all it takes is one.
Always have to be prepared.
Yep.
Yeah. Took until mid-August in 1992 to get that first storm. That was Andrew. There was nothing before that. It was the only major hurricane that season. So the number of storms that's predicted, I never care about that forecast that's released early in the season. It means nothing for anyone. It's just a fun little game. It gets a lot of shares on social media, but accomplishes nothing in terms of telling you what's actually going to happen during that season, which is why you should always be prepared.